How does my mustache look?
Mustache looks great, John Henry.
He's good. I haven't trimmed it for a while. I've been letting it grow over my top lip. I can't achieve a Tom Selleck thing because the space between my nose and my top lip is not big
wide enough. Yeah.
But I just have not been trimming it. My wife absolutely hates it.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it looks quite nice.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah. I explained to her that mustaches, like beards, they're not for you, darling.
Right. Yeah.
They're for the boys. Right. And my guy friends all like my beard and my mustache. So
there you go.
Yeah. So
keep it for them, for the boys.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where we are. Are we on air?
Are we?
Cool. Let's do it. I'm ready.
Cool. Let's do it.
It's not my normal fake cold open, which is like the end of a bad joke that doesn't make sense, and then we do the fake laugh. But here we are. We're excited. It's going to be a great day. Super pumped to be here. Glad to have everybody back. We've got two veterans and one super veteran here with Madeline. So welcome, Justin. I don't know what episode this is for you. 3, 4?
Third, fourth,
okay.
Fourth.
AG? Third? Second?
Fifth?
Madeline?
17th
episode with Madeline. Awesome. So
she was
really
on the
excited.
first one.
And technically,
first one ever.
Yeah, I was on the very first one. Actually, never mind. I was going to say technically this is actually the 18th, but one of them was scratched. So
we don't talk about the lost tapes.
We don't talk about
the lost tapes. They never make it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They don't pass the rigorous testing to actually make it on AM 1160 The Quest,
which is
Catholic Radio.
Did they make sense in any way, shape, or form?
Right. Did they go totally off the rails? Yep. Could they get us in trouble? Censorship laws and whatnot. No, guys, but really, seriously, super pumped to be here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You're listening to AM 1160 The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. This is Honest to God. I'm John Henry Spann. I got producer Ben, as always.
Oh, yeah, as always.
Tickling the keys.
They're laughing today.
Episode number 750 of Honest to God. Mm-hmm. So ready to be here, feeling good, looking good. You guys, AJ, you're going to owe us 2 fun facts, though, because it's been a long time since we've been here. Okay. And then Madeline's just with the 1. Justin's just with the 1. You were just here last week.
Yes, I was. Very recently, indeed.
If these are aired in order, live.
Which they almost never are.
Right. Live from Helsinki. Honest to God.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So let's get started in prayer. Anybody want to volunteer to lead us?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I would love to pray for y'all. Yes.
You kill it every time, Madeline. All right, I'm ready.
All right. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Come, Holy Spirit. Lord, please be with us this evening as we talk about how to spread your word and your life and your love in the community around us. And please help us to be clear, and for our listeners to take heed to what we say, and help us to share your love and build community in your name. Amen.
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 Father,
Son, Holy Spirit.
That was solid.
Thank you.
Short and sweet, like a deacon homily. Because the deacon he stands up and you're like, oh my gosh, it's the deacon's homily. But then, if it's concise, he absolutely gets extra points, even if it wasn't that good of a homily.
Yeah.
88.
I will take that, actually.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Thank you.
I'm harsh on these prayers sometimes.
Yeah,
I give myself an 84.
No, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, so you killed it. That was really, really good.
Thank you.
So this is another iteration of a type of episode that we've done multiple times that I really like. I actually think is super important for the sake of really the mission of the show in general, right? Which is, I think the topic is something along the lines of how do you meet up with other Catholics in Atlanta? How do you build community with people that are like-minded with similar morals in Atlanta? And it's a recurring theme on the show, but it's something that I do want to talk about briefly, which is the church, right? The institutions of the church do a really good job, I think, with young people from the ages of about 5 to the age of about 22, right? For elementary school, you got middle school youth group, you got high school youth group with your Steubenville conferences and all this cool stuff. Then you go to college and you got Seek and you got your Newman Center and all that. And then you're 22 years old and you finish college. And if you're not married and plugged into a community, good luck out there. We'll see you later. Peace out. And I think that's shameful might be a harsh term, but I think it's a shame. It is a shame, right? That we have so many young people who graduate college, and if they're not really purposeful about it, they do lose that sense of community. It's really, really easy to do. Mm-hmm. Or if you're like Ben, who didn't go to college, and you're not purposeful about it, it's hard to find that. And that's not a slight at you, by the way. More power to you.
It's incredibly difficult. I've been out of college. I've been out of high school for nearly 3 years now, and I feel like I'm just now really getting into the Catholic community that I've found. Of course, I met Madeline right after high school, a mutual friend of ours, Annie Glockner.
Heck yeah, big shout out to Annie Glockner.
Annie Glockner, she's
shout
the
out.
best. She's been in on a couple episodes.
She
It's
has.
been a while though.
Yeah.
And I'm now like just signed a lease on a house moving up into the area of this great Catholic community because I feel like I'm living so far away that I really can't get connected to these people as much as I could if I was living near them.
Right.
And so I'm quitting my job and doing that.
Well, and community is something that we talk about
Yeah.
a lot on this show, but that is so important. And it looks different depending on sort of your station in life, obviously. But I want to talk today about sort of purposeful community.
Yeah.
I think I've talked before about the weird little compound that I'm building up on a mountain for the sake of community. And I want to hear about you. I want to hear, Producer Ben, we're going to lean on you a little bit this episode too. But AG, you're our resident community expert here. Can you talk a little bit about what you do and all of that after you give us your 2 fun facts?
Sure. So I will have 2 like Atlanta themed fun facts.
Great. Which is topical. I like that.
One, I've been to Shaky Knees Music Festival twice. If you've never been, highly recommend. And 2, I love lemon pepper wings.
Oh, I like
you
lemon
don't
pepper
like your
wings. I like
wings?
lemon pepper.
Lemon
Yeah.
pepper? I don't know what you're doing.
Lemon pepper is the one type of wings other than whatever the hottest wings on the menu are that are acceptable.
Whenever
Like
we get
I
wings,
judge
yeah.
you if I'm eating wings with you and you don't either get lemon pepper or the unnecessary like hot painful wings.
Whenever I get wings with John Henry, he just goes for the question, what's the hottest wings you have?
It's true.
And then he just goes off that recommendation.
It's like that's an issue of mine, right? I think that it stems from a really bad place of like a desperate attempt to prove myself as a younger person that has since become just I really like super hot wings. So I've embraced it. I'm okay with
You've
it.
like burned your mouth enough times where it doesn't even.
It's just ruined
yeah,
now,
yeah.
and I just want to feel something. That sounded darker than I meant for it to. Madeline, what you got? What are your 2? Or 1? Just one. Just one.
I can play solitaire with a deck of cards. Like, you know the card game?
How else could you play solitaire?
Well, no, I meant like with an actual deck of cards. Like a lot of people play it online.
Oh, I see.
But I can play. I
but they
can.
don't know how to play it.
I can do it with an actual
I
deck
used
of
to know how
cards.
to
I
play
used to
it.
know how to do. That's
Okay.
such a homeschool thing.
Oh, man.
I was not
Madeline was not
homeschooled at
homeschooled.
all. I was quite far from it.
You get like extra homeschool points for that. Like,
That's a
yeah,
compliment,
we're
I
homeschooled,
think.
but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's okay. I guess this could be another fun fact. So I moved to college, and every single one of my friends was homeschooled or hybrid homeschooled. I was the only one that was not, and everyone said I gave off the most homeschooled like energy.
You know what? Yeah. As a homeschooler, yes, you do. Yeah.
And I was
Wow.
like, so I've learned to embrace that. So I was like,
But I feel like in the circles you run in, homeschool energy means something different than
Yes.
the general like zeitgeist.
yeah.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's more of a positive thing.
Yeah.
of-
It doesn't mean like the common term. I was like talking to someone about this recently. She was like, "You don't seem like a homeschooler," because like the common homeschool tropes is, oh, they're weird. They don't know how to talk to people. They're
They wear
weird.
floor-length denim skirts.
They're Amish.
I say that as someone who homeschools my children and works at a hybrid homeschool. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But
big fan, big supporter.
Yeah.
in reality, most of us, at least the I guess Catholic based ones, as far as I know, are incredibly intelligent, well spoken people that
Outgoing,
have
yeah.
and have an easy time talking to adults is the biggest.
In
like,
my honest assessment, this is my honest assessment, not a commercial at all. Once again, I am biased. I'm a big believer in homeschool. I think it's really, really great. I think the hybrid system usually gets the best of both worlds down. I'm all about it. But in my honest assessment, they fall into 2 categories typically. Category 1 is what you just described, which is, man, you're 12 years old and you're having a real awesome conversation with me, an adult, and you're really comfortable in your skin and you know a lot of things. And category 2 is floor-length denim skirts. I don't know why.
I think that's
And like doesn't want to make
100%
eye contact
Yeah.
and all of this. And in the circles I run in, fortunately, most of them fall into the former category, right? Which is pretty great.
But I think in any homeschool circle, you get a mix of both.
Sure.
Like everywhere. Because I was in a few different like homeschool groups.
Were
and
you
it was,
homeschooled?
like- yeah, I was homeschooled, but I went to a private school from like kindergarten to like 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I got in like all my social skills. So I wasn't like
Right.
at home. And then I was homeschooled from like 7th grade to like high school. So
And that's what it mostly comes down to,
Yeah.
I think, is how often are you purposefully socialized,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Do you have good friends in community or you just stay around your
yeah. I
family
mean,
all every day?
I was doing things like every single week. Like my mom was like, "Can you please stop doing things?"
Yeah.
Like you are like 13. Please, you're doing too much.
Well, and rightly ordered, and I know this is a homeschool episode, but just to make sure that I throw this out there, right? You should see your parents a lot more than you see the random, your science teacher.
Yeah.
If you see your science teacher more than you see your mom, that is a problem. There's disorder in your household, right? And that is the benefit of the homeschool everything. But you can definitely have people who already tend to have the tendency to retreat inward to themselves. If there's not like this purposeful outward pushing, it can become an issue.
Yeah,
for sure. That doesn't have anything to do with today's episode, but Justin does. So Justin, why don't you give us a fun fact?
Hello. Well, my British might be showing this episode. I'm conscious of that. My first exposure, that's not the word I want, interaction with the city of Atlanta was probably The Walking Dead.
Oh, interesting.
To be fair, if not that, then my family started this weird tradition, please don't judge me, of watching Gone with the Wind every Boxing Day. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas.
That's a great tradition. I love Gone with the Wind.
It's about 4 hours long, so when you've got
there's an
nothing to do,
intermission in the movie.
it's an intermission built in. So it killed time. But I think The Walking Dead still probably came first in my life.
Nice.
Before
fair.
Gone with the Wind. So that was my first exposure to it.
Was it
before
like
meeting my lovely fiance?
Like watching The Walking Dead?
Yes, watching.
Interesting. Because I have a cousin that's from Atlanta and is in The Walking Dead. Like he's a zombie. He's like this incredibly skinny guy that just gets up in makeup.
Like multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times. Like his a lot of what he does is more of the disgusting kind of stuff. Like he was in the mud, like a mud zombie.
Cool.
Like covered in mud, crawling up out of mud puddles. Like super cool stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
I know a number of people who've been on the show as extras, right?
Yeah.
You just sort of, when you're around, you probably all do know people who've had something to do with it. Yeah, it's neat. Madeline, you got any Walking Dead connection?
No, I don't.
I feel like everyone's at least like, like 7 degrees of like Kevin Bacon, 7 degrees from like a Walking Dead extra.
Right.
If you live here.
Well, so many people who are like, I grew up in Sequoia, and they turned our whole downtown into this. Yeah, it was really great for the first like 4 seasons.
I never watched it. I've been to Sonoya a million times. I've never seen it. We even went to the Walking Dead liquidation sale. And
Stop! I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
We own Negan's dresser.
No way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's in the lounge.
That's super cool to me. I really enjoyed it. Up until Negan shows up, I really liked The Walking Dead. I like the character, but then they kill it. After the next season, they just, I don't know, it kind of fell apart. My Walking Dead hot take is season 2 that everybody hates because there's a lot of sitting around and talking. One of my favorite seasons. If you made a show that was just like the galactic, it was in Star Wars and it was just the galactic and all it was like C-SPAN, but for just like them arguing in like Senate hearings, I would watch. It's so hard. You have no idea. I'd be all about the show. All I want to do is like listen to petty political squabbles.
I love a politics. Yeah. Like if they made like Succession, but like for space, I would be all over that. I would love that. Yeah. I would love that so much.
I'm really a proponent for like different genres of movies set in universes we already know. Like I'd love a rom-com set in like the Harry Potter universe.
Like
a rom-com.
That's awesome.
Or if it was like a crime thriller or a court drama in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
That'd be so cool.
Where the universe is already built, but now here's a different aspect of it. Is that the idea?
Yeah. That's what Disney Plus really needs to like hop on. They got to do that.
But they're not. They just keep doing the same thing over and over again, and it keeps not working.
Yeah. Going back to the Lord of the Rings thing, if there were a sitcom that just took place in that universe with just like a dwarf and he's living with like an elf and they don't get each other, why are we roommates? I would watch so much. It has to be done straight though, not like a parody, but like, hey, these are the rules of the universe that are established and this is what's going on. Oh my gosh, I would love that.
Dude, that'd be great.
Yeah.
We should make that. Ben was in a sitcom.
Yeah, I was. For one episode. We had a pilot and it never got picked up. So,
What was it called?
It's called Mass Confusion. It was a Catholic sitcom starring my parents. Yeah.
Oh my
gosh. Like sitcom like confessionals where they're sitting down like talking to the camera like about their feelings. We had that. It was in an actual like confession box.
Oh my god.
Like instead of the characters talking to the camera, they were talking towards the screen. Like towards the pre-screen. It was pretty great, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
You can find it on YouTube, or at least you could at one point.
You can still, yeah. It's in terrible quality.
No, that is so great.
Yep.
All right, none of that has anything to do with what we're talking about here. But what I do want to get into before, because we're already almost halfway or over halfway time. That's amazing. Y'all are fun. I really enjoy talking to you people. I want to talk about why you're here in particular. I think that's a good way to sort of jump into the grand scheme of it. And you can't say because I'm engaged to AG. That's not allowed. No one's allowed to use that. Nobody here can use that as an excuse. And I want to talk to you first, AG, because I get emails from you once a week.
Yeah. So I was born here, raised here, live here. And it's one of those things where like John Henry is saying, like, you grow up and there's all this community, and there's like, I went to all the student build conferences. I went to live teen camps. I did all of that. And then, had a similar kind of situation as Ben, whereas I didn't go away to college. I went to a local art school, and that was it. All my friends were away at college, and I was just like, well, I'm stuck at home and I don't really have anything to do. So my community was volunteering with my life teen at my parish. And then COVID happened and we weren't really meeting in person. And I was like, well, this just doesn't really feel like that for me. And then there was some other things happening at the parish. So I kind of like stopped helping out with Life Teen. And it was like such a struggle to meet people and to specifically meet like other Catholics and stuff. Right. So I was just hanging out with people I went to like high school with. And then actually I was connected with Michael Williams, who helped run City on Purpose. And we kind of collaborated together and created this website of resources, and also a weekly newsletter that I send out that has events to do in Atlanta. Well, we work with other ministries going on. So Christ the King, Holy Spirit, Abide, all of these other ministries that are happening. We work together with them and we include them in our newsletter, and then like fun things to do. So like there's a Christmas tree lighting, happening. We'll include that for the holidays, or Friendsgiving. Like we'll include stuff like that, because it really is about like being able to connect people. And also like, you're a busy person. You don't have time to research or to do all that. So if you're just moved to the area, it's like, well, I live here, but I don't know where Christ the King is, but am I actually closer to this ministry? It kind of all of those resources put together at once.
And just to go ahead and get sort of the bookwork stuff out of the way, can you give us that website? Because I've been signed up for your email since you were on the show like a year ago, and it really is a tremendous resource. This is not a commercial for City on Purpose, but it really is something that is fantastic. Like even like me working on it, and even like Justin moving here, like it's something that's been helpful for us, like to go and meet people and do stuff. So it's called cityonpurpose.com. You can sign up for the newsletter there. We have 350 subscribers, so hopefully we can get some more. But it is just an all-around resources. We help with like people looking for housing. We have a housing section for jobs that are available and volunteering stuff. We have a section for that. And then we also include like different homilies and sermons from churches around the Atlanta area. Cool. So, if you want to check out what Father Mike Schmitz or what somebody at CTK is saying, then you can like get a little snippet of it from our newsletter. That's awesome. I was at CTK last Saturday. Actually, not for mass. My son's middle school basketball team smoked Christ the King's middle school basketball team, which is cool. No personal attack to them. We love CTK down there, but they're great. Big shout out. Go Gray Wolves. All right, Madeline. What about you? Why are you here? What are you even doing here, Madeline? 17 times? Come on.
Bro, I'm asking myself the same thing. I'm just kidding. I guess. Okay, so I moved to Dahlonega because I went there for college at the university there, and I got involved with the Catholic Center. And so I was there freshman year, sophomore year. I was a leader at the Catholic Center, and then I moved in with Janice, our founder of Honest to God, and then I got involved with this here, and then now I'm not going to school right now, but I am involved in. I work for Life Teen now, and I found a great community there. And so I don't know, maybe I'm here because I adapted to my surroundings, I guess. Yeah, no, and I could share the... what were you going to say? No, I was going to say, I want to dig into that in a little bit. I want to start asking questions about roommates and things like that shortly. But that's great. But I just moved to Dahlonega, found the Catholic Center. Now I'm here. Cool. Well, we appreciate it. We're glad you're here, Madeline. Me too. Happy what about you, Justin? What are you doing here today?
So, as I probably mentioned more than once, I'm a British American dual national. Before even meeting the person I'm not allowed to mention. the idea was eventually I'd spend some time in the US. Most of my family are up in New York. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll somehow, some way, someday get up to the New Yorkish area, maybe Jersey, maybe whatever around there. Instead, I ended up here for reasons of a person I'm not allowed to mention. But
I like how Justin plays along.
but you know, yes, I'm here with my now fiance, but also there is something about this part of the world and the communities we've found together, the openness, the welcoming nature. I've lived a few places now. I spent 10 months in Spain. I think I mentioned that at some point on some episode as well. And it feels similar to that. It feels similar to being in some of the best churches I ended up in back home in the UK. It's a nice place to be.
Yeah, it is. It is a great place, but with great people. You should marry one of them, Justin.
You know, maybe I will.
That's a great idea. Yeah, and going back to that sort of thing that I talked about at the beginning, I feel like especially, you brought this up, AG, post-COVID, you had a whole lot of people who felt super isolated. Didn't you move here, Justin, in the middle of COVID, or did I make that up?
Right towards the tail end. It was March 2021.
Okay.
So people were still more often than not wearing masks out and about, and there was some consciousness of social distancing. I think most every business here was back open.
Right.
Like England, we were still pretty locked down. We were in lockdown number 3 or 4 or something.
Wow.
When I moved, I just kind of got a little window of the airport being open and available.
Right.
And whatnot. But yeah, so tail end of COVID.
Yeah, and I think COVID is probably the harshest example of it, but it's not the only example. I feel like right now, just because of the way that our society operates, we are almost encouraged to retreat within ourselves, right? We're able to feel this fake sense of community through online, quote unquote, community, right? Through social media, through being a part of a different, whatever your online group is, where you're interacting, quote unquote, with people that you type things to regularly, or you agree on politically or something. And I'm not going to just like badmouth social media, but I think that it's fake in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, that kind of community that's not person to person, right, is a facade of, hey, I don't ever actually have to look in your eyes. I don't actually have to see your facial expressions. And I don't mean to sound like an old person. I'm not going to go on like a boomerist rant right now, but we need that. I need to be able to look into Justin's eyes and have a conversation. I think that's what you guys at City on Purpose, but also just these little communities that are around here have that is lacking in a lot of ways. Producer Ben, can you speak at all to your experience going up to the Great White North, the frozen wastelands of the Midwest?
Of Dahlonega, Georgia. Yeah, I absolutely can. Dahlonega has always been a place that has been on my radar slightly. I went up there for the first time, I believe my sophomore or junior year of high school before COVID, for a funeral, actually, is why I was up there for a friend's family member. And I had just driven through and thought, oh man, this is a really pretty spot. And it wasn't until I graduated high school and got invited to the college center up there that I was like, talking to my friend Annie. I was like, Annie, how do you is there a community you're a part of? Because I need people. Like had moved home and just had like no connection to anything young adult, because the area I live in, it's a very family, up and coming family kind of place.
Yeah, it's a suburban
cul-de-sac kind of spot. There are no young adults. There are no young 20-year-olds or even late 20-year-olds. It's everyone with kids and high schoolers mostly. And so she pointed out the Catholic Center, and it took me a couple of weeks, but I was finally able to come up and was just kind of amazed at the community up there. And if I've just very slowly over the last 3 years been trying my best to integrate myself and join while still living 40 minutes away.
Right.
And that's really tough and hard to do. And it's why I'm really pumped about this change I'm making in the next few months of leaving my current job at a college in Cumming, Georgia, and just moving up there. I've found a couple really great Catholic guys that I'm moving in with. They're looking for a spot for next semester. And I was looking for roommates. And so we found this nice little 4-bedroom cabin in the woods. that it's like the
So cool.
It's
That's
the
the
only
goal,
yeah.
ultimately.
It's the only little spot on this property, and I think Madeline went and helped me look at it. And do you remember the trailer home, like behind it, kind of to the side? That's part of the property. The
really?
owner's removing that in like early 2024.
No way.
And so it's going to be gone. And so literally,
there's
looking
nothing around
you
there
can't
then.
see any other like
That's
buildings.
the best.
There's
That's so
you
cool.
look up, you turn the lights off, and it's pitch
It's
black.
yeah, no light pollution at all. It's great.
like-
I don't like I mentioned this in the last episode, but Ben's literally like 10 minutes away from me. I was like, I will be there all the time.
and so I've talked about this on the show before, but there are moments that I think any Catholic or any Christian can point to in their lives where they looked back on it after something has happened and said, oh, God did that. Like that was very intentional. I don't know how that happened like it did in the way it did. And I say that with like how I originally moved up to the area and got integrated with the film program that I was at, and then got the job and that I have now, and a job in Chicago. So things like that I could very obviously after the fact see God working in my life through that. But this is one that I was able to see it while it was happening. And it was even more amazing when you can kind of pick that out.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I want to dig in. We're going to take a break here in a second, but when we come back, I really want to dig into the importance of doing a thing and not assuming that the thing is going to happen to you,
Yeah.
Right.
especially in regards to community, because I feel like I hear people say things similar to this in regards to romantic relationships a lot, right? Which is this frustration that they realize after a while that just sitting around and waiting for something to happen is not going to happen. And just like a romantic relationship with friendship and community building, all of these things, especially nowadays, it's easy to make ourselves feel like we're a part of something, but actually going and becoming a part, showing up and doing the thing is really hard for some reason, right? And I want to get some tips on that because it sounds like everybody here has purposefully done a thing, and it's fitting that your organization is called City on Purpose because you have to do it purposefully. You have to actually be there. So we're going to dig into that in a second. Stay tuned. You're listening to AM 1160 The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. This is Honest to God. We'll be right back. Do you need me to riff on the mustache a little more to give us?
If you want to riff on the mustache, John Henry, you go.
No, I'm at an impasse with a mustache. I don't want to trim it, but I'm having thoughts.
You know, John Henry, I've gotten to that impasse with my job recently where I have this business that I run, and it's gotten big enough that I can either keep working my full-time job and scale back my business, or quit my job and go full-time on my business. And it feels like you're at the same impasse with your mustache.
Very similar, very similar. We should go get drinks sometime and discuss the similarities between your life and my mustache.
And you know what? I could go get drinks with you after next week because I'm going to be turning 21.
I'm going to come to your party. I'm going
pumped.
to drink at your house for the first time ever. It's not
My
gonna be
younger
illegal.
brother's going to bartend for me.
That's super
be great.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. A lot of people bond and form community over drinks, Ben.
They do.
I don't know if I've mentioned that before. Which, wait a minute. Was that an incredible segue back to what we're actually talking about?
Whoa, I didn't even realize you were segueing us back into this.
Am I wearing my sweater that says Harvard, but for
It says it on the back.
It does, yeah. Harvard, but for segues, which is where I graduated. It's where I got my PhD. So pretty
In
exciting
segues.
stuff. Yep. All right. Anyway, we are back. Super excited. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God on AM 1160 The Quest at Atlanta's Catholic Radio. We're talking about community. We're talking about purposeful community, and I want to get into the not just so much the what, which we did on the first half, but the how, because it's really easy for us all to sit here and say, I'm a part of this community, and it's great. And that's awesome. I don't know everybody's temperament in the room, but depending on your temperament, depending on how you're feeling, right? And how comfortable you are with social interactions, introversion versus extroversion, all of that, it can be super difficult to plug in with a certain group of people, right? And I want to talk just practically speaking, how we can do that, especially like we were saying before, in this era of where it's so easy to self-isolate. How can we do that? How can we become purposefully a part of something greater than ourselves as we're naturally inclined to do? What are some thoughts?
I think my initial thought to it would be that it is something that really has to be purposeful, and it's not going to be a flip a switch and you're good to go. Now you're in a community and you have a ton of friends. Right. Like it's going to take work, and it's a lot easier if you're kind of in like a college situation where you have friends that you're just automatically around, and it can be very difficult if you're not around those kinds of people that you actually want to be around. Like specifically if you're a Catholic at a non Christian university or a non-Catholic university.
And that's really what I'm getting to, right? Because you can find community. You can all go out and, I don't know, go to the local bar and start pounding back drinks every single night. And there's going to be some guy who moses up next to you and you're going to become friends, right? I don't recommend it, right? But I'm talking about community and purposeful community. Talking about how do you find like-minded people who you want to like love and support, who you want to build friendships and bonds with. How do you do that, especially today and specifically in this area?
Well, one, you subscribe to the City on Purpose newsletter.
100%.
There you go.
You know, this episode of Honest to God, we're just going to say it, is brought to you by City on Purpose. Thanks a lot.
Like the $4
You can give me $4 after the show. That's the sponsorship cost.
So that's number one. But number two is go it like, because anyone can just find events, but you have to actually go. And it's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. I'm introverted. I'm really awful about talking to people. Bring a friend with you. Bring somebody else. You can, like, you and your friend are like, you can be awkward together at this event. Justin and I, we went to a Theology on Tap with Father Casey, who is from Macon. Shout out to Father Casey. And we were awkward and we were uncomfortable, but we started talking to people and we started, like, meeting with people. And you have to understand that you're going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be awkward. And once you kind of get through that baseline, then you can actually be like, okay, if I know it's going to be weird and uncomfortable to begin with, then I can actually like go and like say hi to people and introduce myself and that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. I think one of the biggest issues there is that we have these security blankets that we keep in our pockets. And I'm a pretty extroverted guy, but I'm just as guilty of anybody as I'm in a room, I don't know anybody. Okay, I'm gonna check my yeah, that kind of thing, right?
Let me check my 10,000 emails before I say hi to anyone.
Right, and then, I'm going to go browse my, what's going on in the news? This is an important thing that I need to do right now, right? And it's so easy for us to retreat further. And that would be my big piece of advice is don't reach for your phone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go off on some anti-phone rant. I've got a great one, but I'm not going to do it right now. But in those situations, it makes it a lot harder to approach if you're sitting there doing this because it screams, please don't interact with me. Please leave me alone. Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit of an onus on those people that are already part of the community.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
That if you're integrated, if you feel comfortable in the space and you see someone that is obviously feels foreign and you can see that they're trying to engage or they just don't know how to enter a conversation, go up to them.
Yeah.
Ask them, hey, how you doing? Welcome.
And there's definitely people in those spaces. There's definitely people who that's like their job, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of like, there's certain communities or certain organizations, they have like a welcoming committee or they have someone that's in charge of like bringing people in and getting their information and making sure people are on the newsletter. Like that's their whole job. So, if you see someone and they have a name tag, you should probably go and, introduce yourself. And most people are going to be more than happy to have you kind of join their flock than be like, oh, you're weird. You got to go.
Well, yeah. In my experience, right? Every time one of those things is happening, there are people there who desperately want to to an awkward amount, get to know you, right? Yeah. And even please don't go into any of these events. If it's a Theology on Tap, if it's some 2030 somethings event, if it's something like that, don't go in there with the assumption, or even if this is naturally your inclination, know that it's wrong, right? But don't go in there with the assumption that nobody really wants to talk to me. They just want to hang out with their friends, right? Make it easier for them to come up and talk to you. But I guarantee you, especially as adults, right? We're not in middle school anymore.
Yeah.
They want to talk to you. They want you to be involved. That's why they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was going to be the piece of advice I kind of spoke to, similar but different. You can be introverted, but my encouragement, especially to that person who's coming new into a space, try and get supernaturally interested in other people.
Right. Yeah.
Why do I say supernaturally? I think as Christians, we're in a slightly better position in which we are called to love one another. We are called to love others, and loving people means getting to know them.
Right.
So if you can be that person to strike up the conversation and you're not worrying about what they think of you and what you have to say about yourself, but you're worrying about how they're doing, what their life has been like, what's brought them to the space, somehow it becomes a bit easier.
Right.
And that's just coming from a place of having lived a few different spaces.
Right.
And if I don't know what else to do, I can ask someone, how are you doing?
That's what I was going to say. One of my big things that I learned, because I just talked over you to demonstrate how bad I am at this, is I really like to talk about myself. I really like to talk. And asking people questions in any of those situations, even if like initially you're saying just I need to purposefully ask people questions because I struggle with selfishness or whatever myself. Like if you're a part of one of these events and you see somebody new, go up and just ask them basic stuff. Hey, what's your name? Where are you from? Oh, why are you here? How'd you find out about us? And it'll open it up. It's the best thing in the world.
I remember one question I've found recently that has just like opens people up because they're not expecting it. Is I said, what's the best thing that happened to you this week? Like, and it makes them think. Like they sit there and say, they're like, huh. And then like try to strike up a conversation from their answer. Right. Like ask them, oh, why? Do you enjoy doing that thing? Like, did they do an activity that they really enjoyed that week? Ask them, where'd you start doing that? And try to engage them. So, because there's something that we as humans do where we love to be listened to.
Right.
Humans love the acknowledgement of others. We love to be acknowledged. And so if you can be the person that acknowledges them, they automatically have a good like connotation to you that, oh, this person's interested in me and what I have to say. So get them talking about themselves. They're going to start asking you questions. And because they already know that you're invested in the conversation, it's going to automatically make them more invested in the conversation.
I've given this piece of advice 37,000 times on the show, but I think it stands true 100%. And that is when you're meeting someone and when you're having a conversation with someone. I've totally lost my train of thought. We're going to have to edit this out because it's late. Shoot.
Just keep
it was
going.
Really good.
Yeah.
Whatever I was about to say was excellent.
I believe it.
But here we are, and it's gone now.
Cool.
Do you want to?
Madeline.
Give them money. Yeah, just give them money. Give someone money.
Wow,
They'll
Lloyd is
you.
very funny answers
that
today.
was really funny. All right, sorry, it's late, guys. All right. Back to it. Sorry, thanks, Ben. Here's something I want to get into right now, and that is we talked a lot. Or we talk a lot about meeting people and going to these things. I remember what it was. Yeah. One of the best pieces of advice that I have for people who are trying to find people with a common like value system, right? And it works everywhere, right? Obviously, this is a Catholic show. Fullness of faith, I believe, is found in the Catholic Church. And if you're trying to meet other Catholics, right, for any reason, right, for friendship, for community, even a romantic partnership, right, go do the kinds of things that the kind of people you want to be around would be doing. Yeah. And that seems like such obvious, no duh advice, but it's true, right? If you want friends who really care about their faith, right, go to the awkward like pancake breakfast before the mass starts. Go volunteer. Go to the Habitat for Humanity build.
Go to an hour of adoration.
Yes.
That's something like I'm helping start up my parish is
Awesome.
like an hourly adoration, and then we're going to go get dinner afterwards because there's nothing better than going to see Jesus and then connecting with people over a meal. Like,
and the kind of people who are going to say, I'm all in for that, are the kind of people you want to hang out with.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a really, really good one.
Yeah, I was gonna add like daily mass as well. I've met a lot of people through daily mass. I
mean, I ended up getting coffee with two friends of mine after going to daily mass. Like it just worked out. Like that we went to daily mass and then we ended up getting coffee. And it was totally last minute, but the three of us were at daily mass. So
one of the only like deep male friendships that I've made since I graduated from college was made because I was at mass on a Tuesday and I saw another guy in mass on a Tuesday who was like not 80. And afterwards I was just like, hey man, how you doing? I've never seen you before. We struck up a friendship and that brief conversation ended with, you want to go grab some barbecue? I said, yeah, I want to go grab some barbecue. And it was the best. It was the best thing in the world, right? And he's still he's one of my dear friends now. He's the godfather of my youngest, or my second youngest.
Very
now.
cool.
So, yeah,
nice.
It's neat. I want to get into roommates because both of you guys have mentioned roommates. Madeline and Ben have. I don't know anything about your new roommates. I know a whole lot about your old roommates. And I'd like to talk about that because living with people is a big deal. And especially in this world where people who are actually taking morality and their faith and being virtuous people seriously, I think that's hard to come by. I'm a big believer in the idiom that you are the 5 people you spend the most time around. And so choosing the kinds of people who are going to build you up and help form you to be the person that you're going to be. We're not meant to be islands at all, right? How do you do that? Like, Ben, how did you find your roommates? And then I know a little more about your story, but I want to dig into it too.
So I found my roommates. Their names are Nick and Caleb. through the Catholic Center at UNG, I had met both of them briefly. Briefly before, me and Nick had a pretty cool conversation about, like, he had been posting like sunset and sunrise pictures in the group chat, in like the Catholic group chat, and I was like, cool, are you the sunset picture guy? And he's like, yeah, that's me. And so we got to talking, and then I noticed that he made a post on the group chat that's basically said, hey, I'm wanting to move to Dahlonega next semester, like transfer up there.
Yeah.
Is anyone looking for a roommate? And, you know, a week or two went by, and I started thinking about moving up there. And so I mentioned to him, hey, I'm thinking about moving up here. Do you want a room together? And he said, yes, absolutely. Let's do that. And then he said, did you know that Caleb was also looking for a roommate? And so now the three of us are just all kind of in it. We don't know much about each other, but we're all like, we all feel good about the simple fact that we met through the Catholic Center, and that we have that as the foundation of the connection between us, and that we've heard good things about each other from all the other people at the Catholic Center.
Yeah.
But I know little to nothing about these.
See, and I love that you said that, because I want to make it super duper clear that the pitch is not like we're all called to be monastics, and I'm trying to find a group of people who agree with me on literally everything, and we're going to be about the exact same on everything.
Even monks don't get along with everything.
Well, I have a dear friend who went to University of Georgia, and he was looking like for good guys, and he's a Catholic guy, but he really clicked with a Muslim guy. And he said I was talking to him on the phone, and he's about 10 years younger than me, and he was saying it's really great, like he's not Catholic, but he's like also trying to make sure that he doesn't look at porn, and he doesn't go out drinking and partying all the time, and he takes his faith seriously, almost like asking me permission, like, is that okay? And the answer was, yeah, obviously that's okay, dude. Like, this is, if he's a good guy who's like uplifting and moving on the same track you are, yeah, embrace that.
Yeah. I had because I lived in Chicago for 5 months, and I had at max, I think, five or six other roommates at any given point, and I had no say in who those people were.
Right.
Like, I knew I worked with one other one. One of the other one was an intern at the company I was interning at. So we were both Catholic. Like, we went to mass together every week, most weeks. If she got up early enough to go to the mass I went to. But then everyone else in the house was a variety of different like backgrounds and ethnicities and religions. And we all just kind of clicked. Like, as we kept talking, of course we disagreed on some things, but we put those things aside and talked about the stuff we did agree on.
Right.
And it became this very like human connection that all of us were very different in the things we believed in and the opinions we held about some topics and issues, but we were able to find those commonalities to connect and still have a great time together as just people, and just push aside the disagreements, because, you know, we're all living together. It's not going to be a good time if we're just arguing all the time about the things we know we don't agree on.
Well, and roommates aren't spouses,
right?
Yeah. Like, you don't have to. It's okay if there's some disagreements here and there, but if they're not actively detracting from like your journey towards Christ or something, right? Like, if you struggle with something, right, with alcoholism or something, you probably shouldn't room with someone who's, you know, drinking excessively all day every day or something like that. But we can be prudent without like totally gatekeeping everything about that experience, I think.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your roommate situation. We talked about the catahomies before.
Yeah. So like Ben, I met all of my past roommates at the Catholic Center at UNG. I was a freshman. I was living on campus, but I knew about the Catholic Center because my sister went to the school prior to me, and she told me about it. And she was like, you should hit it up. And I was like, all right, I will. And I'm going to be honest, they did the best they could, but it was not the best organized wise. It was very last minute, a lot of the things it felt like, but the people there were really genuine and really good. And so there was 3 specific girls, Grace, Annie, and Mackenzie. We've talked about them on here before.
They've all been on here
We've all been on here before. Anyways, they all knew each other prior to coming to college. They all went to school together since like middle school, elementary school maybe, or something like that. But I just clicked with them really well, and we started spending like every day together. We would walk to and from campus. I was a huge like hiking nerd at the time, and so I like every single weekend I'd be like, let's go on a sunset hike here, or let's go camping here. And they just all tagged along. And there was a few other people like Daniel who has not been on here, has he?
No, he hasn't. Isn't that weird?
Right.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Anyways,
I'm a big fan. Big shout out to Daniel
but
Nelson, wherever you are.
he's another guy. Matt, I've met David, who's been on here before. I met him through the Catholic Center, and so we just kind of like created this community. We had Daniel's house that we would hang out at. We had the Givens cabin we would go hang out at with, and so we would just like, and then so that was freshman year, and then at the end of freshman year, they were like, hey. The Givens had moved into their house up in Dahlonega, and the basement they were converting to like a little apartment, like a dorm apartment. And they were like, "Hey, do you want to come live with us?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so I moved in. It was 4 of us girls downstairs in one basement, all living in one. Okay, so we had 1 bedroom, y'all. We had a triple bunk
It's
bed.
pretty cool.
It was
pretty cool.
Wow.
a triple bunk bed. And we had,
And
but it
then
was
one person slept on the floor.
yeah. We so occasionally had a blanket to throw down there to him. No, I'm just kidding. She did have a side bed. But I lived with them, and it was really great. I learned a lot about having roommates, because only before that I did have roommates in college that I mean my freshman year that I met on move-in day. I didn't know them, and I didn't spend a lot of time with them either. I had 2 sweet mates that I probably interacted with twice. And it was because one time one of them killed a cockroach for me, and that was I never talked to them. So
Solid
I never,
sweet mate though. That was cool. That was
yeah,
cool
I know.
that you
She
did.
really pulled through, man. I was like, I texted into our group chat. I was like, does anyone brave enough to kill a bug, specifically a cockroach? She was like, I got you. But I didn't really hang out with them. I was gone from the dorm a lot, so it was really nice to move into a place with people that I knew were on the same page as me, who were on the same faith. Kind of like how Ben was saying, I did know more about these girls than Ben knows about his roommates, but it's very comforting knowing that like we're gonna wake up, we're gonna pray together, we're gonna do activities together, we're gonna
Y'all had more of a pseudo monastic kind of thing going on. That was in a cool way. I mean, like you lived in this like very purposeful, like, no, we're all on this journey together kind of community.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, it gave me a lot of knowledge about having roommates and patience and stuff like that. It's not easy living in that small of a space with 3 other people, I will say. But
It's just you and one other person now.
yes.
Right, yeah.
So yeah. So they all left.
Oh,
And I stayed. But
alone in the basement on the floor, even
Yeah.
though there were 3 bunk beds. Okay,
yeah,
sorry, I was
so
trying to make it
so
sad.
they all left.
In each bunk bed, do you just try out?
No, okay, I'm
Just
actually
rotate
yeah. So they all left, but Emma, who has been on the show several times,
She's on here last month.
she is now
Or
my
last week.
roommate. Huh?
She was on here last week.
Yeah, she was on here last week. Yep, she is now my roommate. And it's been great, but she is a very busy woman, so I do find myself. Okay, so I wait, backtrack a little bit. So they all left, and then I was there by myself, but I also stopped going to school. So I kind of stopped seeing a lot of the people that I saw at the Catholic Center or I saw on campus and stuff like that.
Okay, but can you talk about why you stopped going to school? Because I think it's going to be a good segue. Also, it sounds really sad that you're in a basement. You don't go to school anymore. So let's pick up with
yeah,
that.
that's true. Okay, so for me, I the first 2 years of college, I overloaded myself. I was a bit off more than I could chew, and I just needed a break from everything. I needed a break from school. I needed a break from all the volunteer positions I was doing, from some of the job I was doing. And so I kind of just, I maybe dropped out. We'll see.
Doesn't count if there's the possibility of you going back.
True.
Yeah.
So I took a break. I got a new job that was less stressful for me. And so that is why I left school. To kind of find my journey.
Yeah, but you're doing
se.
something
Yeah.
now. You're doing something really beautiful right now.
And through, this is really long. So through living up where I do now, I am neighbors with the Life Teen Camp Hidden Lake. I've mentioned this on a past episode, but I work there now as an assistant cook, and there's a great, absolutely fantastic community there with the staff and the missionaries, and it's just, the Lord is just paving my path right now. And so, I have, that's right now is my main community. I do try to get to the Catholic Center as much as I can, but but yeah, I was given this opportunity, and I just felt like there was no reason for me to say no.
So let's dig in practically, because that's a really good jumping off point. What are some things that are going on right now, or when's this going to air? Do we know roughly? Within the next couple
weeks, like before the end of the year.
Okay.
So early 2024, right? What are some summer programs, some mission work, some things that if I'm saying, man, I really want to be a part of something, I got no idea what to be a part of. What can I do? Like, I don't know how you get a job at Life Teen. How do you what are some things that I can actually practically plug into in the next couple of months?
Okay, real quick, I will say for Life Teen, I know as we are filming, the applications are open, and I think they might still be open by this time it airs. But summer missionary applications are open for summer missionaries and service crew, and I will say that is a great opportunity to find community. People from all over the country come to work at these camps. You find people who are on fire to like help kids, lead kids to Christ and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's definitely something you should look into.
Well, kind of segueing a little bit from that. So, City on Purpose does have a Facebook group that we help run for people looking for housing, specifically for people who want to, live a more intentional way and in community. So we also have some of those posts included on the Facebook. I mean, not the Facebook. We have some of those Facebook posts included in our newsletter. Cool. So if you're looking for housing, that's a great way to do that. But there's so many great ministries going on. And even like south of Atlanta, St. James, which is my parish, we're starting off doing some ministry work with young adults. So with the adoration, and also like every other Wednesday we're doing stuff for those folks that live south of the city. But in the Atlanta area, there's a ton of great ministries going on. So CTK, as we've previously mentioned, Holy Spirit, Abide is a great one if you're in kind of like the Marietta, Kennesaw area. They do a lot of great stuff. Mercy Missions is a great organization to do stuff with. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything else.
Well, the weekly newsletter also has new job postings and volunteer opportunities on top of those, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's everything you need.
Yeah. Once again, though, but seriously, I don't know. It does just sound like a long commercial, but check out the City on Purpose newsletter.
If you live in the Metro Atlanta area, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
If you don't,
then just go find the local Catholic center. Find the college you're close to. Go there and see if there's a Catholic center.
And I would say, and I've said it before, go more than once.
Yeah.
Go more than once. It's the first time. If it's awkward, try it again.
It took me almost a year to really start to find people that I really enjoyed hanging out with. And now it's taken me almost 3 years to really get integrated and feel like I'm a part of the community.
Yeah. Like, it might just be planting seeds.
Yeah.
Showing up might just be planting seeds of, oh, hey, you're one person. Like, I don't really like this thing that I showed up for, but I like you. And now I got your number. And now we text. Oh, and now there's this other thing you're a part of. I mean, and I don't want to sound cheesy, but as always, what is cheesy is usually wholesome and really good, but we're jaded and cynical, so we don't see it that way. If you're just, all you need is that one connection and to kind of trust the fact that the Holy Spirit loves you and wants to move you. And he does. God wants you in community. We're made for community. So you can do it. And it's just a matter of overcoming sometimes your own awkwardness or the awkwardness of the other people around you, frankly. Right. So do it.
Yeah. And have faith, man.
Seriously.
But also one other thing, to get more information on Honest to God and Young Adult, and we'll link
this is
stuff.
A ministry. You can come on here.
Yeah, literally. Okay, so just text capital Y, capital A to this number, and we'll link it down in the comments or the description so you can have it there too. But 844-617-1292, and that'll send you, I think, it'll expose you to our website, our YouTube,
it'll
stuff
put
like
you
that.
on a text chain that we have for basically announcing, it basically we vet you. You'll get a call from our lovely producer Janice, and she'll talk to you and see if you're crazy or not, and then might invite you on the show. Most likely will.
And we've met some awesome people being on here, and
absolutely
awesome ministries we've gotten connected with.
I didn't know JJ. He's been on the show a couple times.
Love JJ.
I didn't know JJ until I started doing Honest to God, and he's coming to my party next week.
That's awesome.
Which is very cool.
Oh, really?
I know.
No, and a lot of people don't realize this about what we do in here, but there's a few of us in here all the time, but then there's the like green room in the back that's got people getting ready for the next show,
And we're
there's always
talking,
food,
and we're, you know,
and
yeah.
it's just it's
Yeah.
a
It's a lot of
ministry.
fun.
So yeah, consider it. Come check us out.
Yeah.
Do whatever Madeline said. Texty thing. It's down in the it's down in the
Yeah, and then
description below.
also our Instagram, honest to God, letter 2, honest to God _YA. Soon we're trying to find someone. Well, I think we have found someone, something like that, to fill that position. So more in the next few months, that will be a lot more
Totally.
And if you're
active.
interested in really any production side of things, we're always looking for new help. I would
100%.
love help with editing. I would love to train someone to edit Honest to God, because currently I do all of it.
And he
I
does a
post
great job,
daily.
producer Ben.
I've been
We
having
really
a lot of
appreciate
fun,
you.
but it is wearing on me.
Yeah. So if you ever want to help out, literally,
Yeah, please.
hit up that number, call, visit our website,
Yeah.
I pick one?
www.honesttogod.quest.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
We got all the stuffs.
Totally. All right. So we are going to, we're about to do loaded questions, Junior, before we close out here. But before we do it, make sure that you comment below which of us you think was actually Andy Serkis the entire time. Because one of us has been Andy Serkis in a ping pong ball motion capture suit the entire episode. And if you guess right, Ben will send you a picture of himself.
Yep. It's just me going,
Yep.
but not like that picture. Not
No, that'll be a different one.
But it'll be a different one.
Yeah, it'll be custom for you.
for our audio listeners. I jumped up and down.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was really impressive.
It was really impressive. I did a backflip actually in my chair.
It was really, yeah, it was really cool. Thanks, man. All right, loaded questions, Junior. Let's start with Madeline. Pick your favorite.
Okay, what is the best thing about being really short? I wouldn't say I'm really short, but I am fairly short. I don't know, man. People are nice to you when you're short, I think.
How do you move front for concerts? I do appreciate
Yeah, and
that.
stuff
yeah.
like that. And like they're very mindful that
Oh, that's
they're
nice.
they're
Yeah.
a bearing presence over you. So I guess that's it.
All right, I dig it. What about you, AG?
So mine is, if you could only watch one television show for the rest of your life, what would it
That's a
be?
good one.
That's too much. But my immediate answer was the show Dairy Girls. If you haven't seen it, it's great. So
Like DERRY?
Yes.
Is it like a British invasion kind of
it's
show?
it's about the Troubles in the 90s, and it's
Whoa.
set back
In Ireland?
against these like Catholic schoolgirls and the hijinks that they get into.
Okay.
It's hilarious. It's great.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Awesome. Justin, what you got?
Could I request a number between 1 and 4, please?
2.
Okay, what do you need more of right now? Sleep, probably.
It is 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are.
We're doing an all-nighter.
Yeah, I probably need more sleep right now. That and golly, help me out,
Jesus.
fiance. Always Jesus.
Amen.
Jesus and sleep. The big two,
That's
as I
solid.
always call them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus and sleep.
All right, producer Ben, what you got?
All right, I'm gonna go on a quick rant about one of these questions and answer a different one.
Okay, great.
If you could buy any one thing at an electronics store, what would it be? See, it's saying if I could buy. It doesn't say if I had the money to buy.
Right.
Yeah, like if it should say if I have infinite money, which I would buy infinite wishes. If I could buy anything at an electronics store, it would be
that
infinite
is fair.
Now I'm gonna answer, what would you never eat with cheese? And it would be
A burrito filled with human teeth. Yeah, that is a good answer. I would never eat that with cheese. Isn't that weird? We didn't rehearse that or anything. We were just like,
Oh my gosh.
And I got some good ones. My favorite is, what movie are you dying to see but your parents won't let you? I was trying to think of some movie my
Well,
parents
you've answered this before.
wouldn't let me see when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were movies that they wouldn't let me see, but I wasn't a big movie guy as a kid. I'm going to answer, what is something that you need help with? Because that's that plays into something. I have worked at all levels of schools, from a teacher to a dean of students to a football coach to a principal to everything. Every single time, there has always been some woman who worked with me who was like, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but like cared for me like I was like a 12-year-old who, like, every day I would show up and they'd be like, hey, so you know you have this and then you have this. And I'd be like, yes, got it. And then 20 minutes later, they'd be like, hey, do you remember 20 minutes ago when I said that you had this? It's that time right now. So I need help with just like everything from these wonderful women that the Lord has just put into my life. Everyone from my mom to my wife to my assistant to like the English teacher that takes pity on me because I clearly can't figure out what's what. I mean, so that's what I need. That's what I need help with. So a big shout out to all those wonderful ladies in my life. Thanks. Thanks, gals. Maybe there's been guys, but I just remember the wonderful women. So that's all we got. We're done. We're overtime, man. Mm-hmm. Right. Even despite the fact that you got to do some fancy editing because I totally lost my train of thought earlier.
I probably won't cut that out.
No,
because it was funny.
Okay, whatever. I trust you. I trust you. All right. So that is all we got, guys. Thank you so much for being here. It is always a blast. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It's been AM 1160 The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. This has been Honest to God. Producer Ben,
signing off.
Over and out.